Hi everyone, CB Smith here. Earlier this year, there was a trend online of women being asked if they would rather be alone in the woods with a man or a bear. Most women seemed to answer bear. Some gave reasons, mostly stemming from a bear tending to give away its intentions to you when you first see it. There was a sizable amount of very loud, presumably guys that didn't seem to like that answer very much, and some of their reactions ironically made the bear answer even more appealing. Funny enough, this isn't the first time that bears and men were compared to each other with sexual assault. 9 years ago, Collegehumor.com posted a video of a bear attacking a college dorm room, with one of the students saying that it's fine because statistically you only have a 1 in 5 chance of being attacked. So, this was a reaction to a statistic of college students having a 1 in 5 chance of being raped. That statistic itself has an interesting history, and I'll put it in the description below. Recently, I came across a novel that also asked a woman to choose between a man or a bear nearly 50 years ago. And boy, oh boy, did I get my answer in Bear by Marian Engel. Strap in. The setup of the story is Lou, a library archivist working for an institution tasked with cataloging a library of a deceased wealthy recluse and their Elizabethan style home, the only house on the secluded island near Ontario, Canada. Lou's only interactions are a local named Homer, an elderly Native American woman, and a bear that's been chained up in the guest house of the home for an unknown amount of time. Lou is loving her time in the beginning. She's alone in a nice little cottage house, away from everyone, reading a library's worth of classic books and chilling with a bear. No one bothering her. Like, this book came out in 1976, but she is living the 2024 book talk booktuber fantasy life. And as the seasons get warmer, Lou takes the bear to the creek and bathes with it. It comes into the cottage and sleeps next to her, and then, well, over time, Lou chooses the bear. I mean, she chooses the bear. I'm not going to describe exactly what goes down, other than the bear, but it involves honey. She makes out with the bear, she dances with the bear, and then eventually tries to the bear, and that's where the book gets interesting. Stay with me. The book is about sex, but it's more interested in talking about sexuality and intimacy. It's revealed in the story that Lou did not have a fulfilling, intimate life. Her boyfriend leaves her for another woman, resulting in her reacting violently. She has a by the numbers, no passion affair with her boss at the Institute. Lou is being pursued in these relationships and then tossed to the side, including the local Homer. And then there's the bear, where over and over throughout the book, shows no interest in this relationship with her. It has to be persuaded with honey and food. No bear erection for her. I'm going to hell. During this time, she accepts Homer's advances and is left again unfulfilled after that. The bear itself also eventually lashes out at her at the climax of the story. In the end, Lou leaves the island with the intention of quitting her job and pursuing a more fulfilling career and life for herself. And the bear is taken care of by the elderly Native American woman mentioned before. Margaret Atwood of The Handmaid's Tale said that Bear is one of many works that, quote, figures from the Canadian past were used as a point of reference for the Canadian present, then president of 1970s. The owners of the cottage that Lou is staying in didn't have any books on the local history of the area. The books that are there talk about Victorian and Regency periods in England. Edward Trelawney talking smack about Percy Shelley or Lord Byron, and books about Beau Bremel, whom was a character in his own time. He may or may not be the man that Jane Austen based her male characters on. The family that built this house in this story was one of the first settlers, but there's no books on how they settled, what happened, etc. Just gossip about the goings on in England. We, as the readers, are told also that the house itself is not fitted for the environment it was built on. Too cold in the spring, or it's too hot in the summer, but it sure looks pretty, but it's not very practical. It's very demure, but not very mindful. Marian Engel to me is the type of feminist that George Carlin talked about in his stand up routines. Very knowledgeable and firm in her political points, but also has a sense of humor. Much like the bear versus man question that took off this year, having a conversation about perceptions of safety with a rhetorical, Would I have read this 50-year-old anti colonial feminist novel if it didn't involve a lady trying to a bear? Probably not. And that's part of the joke. I'm part of the joke. You guys watching this video are part of the joke. Otherwise, in the book, we wouldn't have these very real dissections of 17th century literary figures alongside lines like, she cradled her big, furry, asymmetrical balls. If I have an issue in the novel, I think it stems from the depiction of the Native American character Lucy Leroy. In the novel, she is played up as a noble savage, only able to speak in that stereotypical broken English with an unspecified mystical connection to the land. More Disney's Pocahontas than Killers of the Flower Moon for a modern day comparison. And while it makes sense for Lou as a character to not learn or care about Lucy and her history, the purpose of Lucy's character in the book is to represent a darker side of Canadian history. And I think if you're going to make a critique about the treatment of Native Americans in Canada, you would have Lucy speak perfect English and drop a reference to the residency schools that Canada and the US had during the time that Lucy was in school. Forced to be taken away from your tribe and made to assimilate through violence, only for her to end up back in her tribal land. You could even tie it in with the bear, whom was also taken away from its home and forced to assimilate to Lou's sexual advances. It's the same message, but more prominent, and places Lucy into a more established character than a mystical Indian priestess stereotype. It sounds weird for me to say, but yeah, go read the bear book, guys. I'll leave the link in the Internet Archive. You can read it for free, as well as other sources that I use for this video. It's weird, it's off-putting, it's funny, a little dated, not ahead of its time, but a reflection of the time period. And that's all I have. Enjoy these last warm days of summer and fall, and be careful with those bear balls, asymmetrical or otherwise. And as always, take care.